Why and how to choose a real estate broker in Bangkok for foreign buyers. This episode is for foreigners who are planning to buy property in Bangkok, especially those who think the safest strategy is to avoid brokers completely. That instinct is understandable, but in Bangkok it is often wrong. Avoiding brokers as a foreign buyer does not reduce risk. In many cases, it increases it. By the end of this episode, you will understand two things. First, why trying to bypass brokers in Bangkok can lead to higher prices, confusion, and bad decisions. Second, how to choose a broker who actually protects your interests. This is not an anti-broker discussion. Bangkok real estate depends on brokers. The real issue is not whether to use a broker. The real issue is which broker you choose. Many foreign buyers believe that buying directly from a developer is cheaper and safer. They assume that cutting out the broker means better pricing and fewer problems. In Bangkok, that assumption usually does not hold, especially for foreign ownership. The moment you ask about foreign quota, English documentation, or overseas payment, you are already inside a broker-driven system. You may not see it, but it is there. Understanding this system is the first step to making better decisions and to avoiding very expensive mistakes. In the next part, I will explain why avoiding brokers in Bangkok is risky for foreign buyers and why so-called direct deals are often an illusion. Many foreign buyers believe that the safest way to buy property in Bangkok is to avoid brokers completely. They assume that dealing directly with a developer will give them better prices and fewer problems. This logic makes sense in many countries, but Bangkok works differently. For foreign buyers, there is rarely such a thing as a true direct deal, especially when it comes to foreign ownership. Every condominium in Bangkok has a limited foreign ownership quota. That quota is tracked, managed, and allocated. Access to it is controlled. When a foreign buyer contacts a developer, they are usually redirected, sometimes to an internal sales team, sometimes to an external agency, very often to a broker who specializes in foreign quota units. So even when you think you are dealing directly, you are still inside a broker-driven system. The difference is that you may not know who is representing whom. Another important point is pricing. Many foreign buyers assume that cutting out brokers means a lower price. In practice, the opposite often happens. Developers set their foreign pricing strategically. They already factor commissions into the price. When a buyer approaches without a professional broker, the price rarely goes down. What often goes down is transparency. Without a broker who represents you, you may not see alternative units. You may not see resale options. You may not understand how prices compare across projects or locations. Language and cultural gaps also matter. Negotiation styles are different. Expectations are different. What sounds clear to a Thai sales team may sound ambiguous to a foreign buyer. A professional broker acts as a filter. They translate more than language. They translate intent, risk, and reality. Avoiding brokers does not eliminate commissions. It eliminates advocacy. This is why the real question is not whether you should use a broker in Bangkok. The real question is how to choose the right one. In the next part, I will explain how the Bangkok brokerage system actually works and why understanding incentives and access is critical for foreign buyers. To choose the right broker, you first need to understand how the brokerage system in Bangkok actually works. There are several types of brokers operating in this market, and they do not all work the same way. First, there are brokers who are closely associated with developers. They may work in-house, or they may work as external partners. Their primary role is to move developer inventory, especially foreign quota units. Second, there are independent real estate agencies. These firms usually represent both buyers and sellers. They work with resale units, developer projects, and rental properties. Quality varies widely. Third, there are freelancers. Some are experienced, many are not. They often rely on online listings and co-brokers. They usually have limited access and limited leverage. Then there is co-broking. This is when one broker brings another broker into the deal. Sometimes this is necessary, but often it means that no single broker truly controls the transaction. Understanding incentives is critical. Brokers are typically paid by commission. That commission can vary by project, by unit type, and by timing. This does not mean brokers work against buyers, but it does mean incentives influence recommendations. A professional broker manages this conflict openly. They explain options, they explain trade-offs, they explain why one unit may be better than another. An unprofessional broker avoids these conversations. They push what is easiest to sell or what pays the most. For foreign buyers, access matters more than promises. Access to owners, access to developers, access to real inventory. Without access, a broker cannot negotiate. They can only relay messages. In the next part, I will explain how to identify a professional broker using a simple set of questions that reveal experience, access, and competence. Once you understand how the system works, choosing the right broker becomes much easier. You do not need industry knowledge. You need to ask the right questions. The first question is about rental yield. Ask the broker what the realistic net rental yield is. Not the brochure number, not the optimistic estimate. The net yield after vacancy, fees, and tax. A professional broker will answer with a range. They will explain assumptions. They may even explain why yield is not the main goal for that property. An unprofessional broker will quote a single high number or avoid the question entirely. The second question is about resale. Ask who your likely buyer will be if you sell in 3 to 5 years, not whether the price will go up, but who will actually buy. A good broker will talk about demand profiles, nationalities, budget ranges, unit sizes that resell well. A weak broker will talk about future growth or general market optimism. The third question is about foreign quota access. Ask how many foreign quota units are available right now and at what prices. If the broker cannot answer clearly, they do not control access, and without access, negotiation is limited. There is one optional follow-up question that reveals a lot. Ask who sets the final price, the broker, the owner, or the developer. This question often changes the tone of the conversation, and that is a good thing. These questions are not aggressive, they are practical. A professional broker will welcome them because they reveal serious buyers. In the next part, I will explain common traps foreign buyers fall into and how to recognize warning signs early. Even when foreign buyers decide to work with a broker, mistakes still happen. Most of them follow the same patterns. One common trap is the freelancer broker. Some freelancers are experienced. Many are not. They often rely on public listings and co-brokers. They do not control inventory. They do not control pricing, and they usually cannot solve problems when something goes wrong. Another common trap is fake cheap listings. You may see the same unit advertised by different agencies, each one with a different price. The cheapest options often look very attractive. Then you inquire, and suddenly that unit is no longer available. This may happen once by coincidence. If it happens 2 or 3 times, it is a pattern. The purpose is not to sell that unit. The purpose is to capture your contact and redirect you to more expensive options. A related tactic is the repeated "sold already" response. You ask about one unit, it is sold. You ask about another similar one, it is also sold. Then the broker suggests a different property, usually at a higher price. This is not bad luck, it is a filtering technique. Another warning sign is constant switching. If the broker keeps changing recommendations without clear reasoning, something is wrong. Professional brokers explain why an option is better. Unprofessional brokers simply move on. Recognizing these patterns early saves time, and it saves money. In the next part, I will explain why access and control matter, and how co-broking affects your deal as a foreign buyer. At this stage, one concept becomes very important: access. In Bangkok real estate, access determines control, and control determines outcomes. A broker with direct access to owners or developers can negotiate. They can hold units. They can clarify terms quickly. They can solve problems before they become expensive. A broker without access can only relay messages. They wait, they guess, and they lose leverage. This is where co-broking comes in. Co-broking means one broker brings another broker into the deal. Sometimes this is necessary, but very often it means no one truly controls the transaction. For foreign buyers, this usually leads to slower decisions, less flexibility, and weaker negotiation. If your broker needs another broker to open the door, they do not control the deal. Another critical mistake foreign buyers make is trying to work with many brokers at the same time. The logic seems reasonable. More brokers should mean more options. In reality, it creates confusion, conflicting information, and no accountability. Let me give you a real example. A British buyer contacted me after several months of searching. It was his first property purchase in Bangkok. He believed that speaking to many brokers would give him better leverage, so he jumped between several agents. At the same time, he tried to deal directly with developers. He paid multiple reservation fees, 3 different projects, 3 different units. Each time, the deal did not move forward. Terms changed, units became unavailable, conditions became unclear. In total, he lost a few 100,000 baht in reservation payments, and he still did not own a property. Worse than that, he damaged his credibility. Developers and sales teams share internal records. By the time he returned to the same developer to restart discussions, he was flagged as unreliable. Not officially, but practically. The result was simple: no priority, no flexibility, no good deals. The problem was not bad intentions. The problem was lack of structure. Jumping between brokers did not increase his options, it destroyed trust and access. This is why choosing one professional broker matters, not for convenience, but for control. In the final part, I will summarize everything into a simple checklist so you can choose the right broker with confidence. At this point, the framework should be clear. You do not need to avoid brokers in Bangkok. You need to choose the right one. Let me summarize this into a simple checklist you can actually use. First, professionalism. A good broker understands rental yield, market pricing, and resale logic. They can explain numbers clearly, not just promise growth. Second, access. A good broker has direct access to owners or developers. Access creates leverage. Without it, negotiation is weak. Third, communication. Clear English matters. Not perfect accents, clear explanations. Fourth, structure. Meet serious brokers in their office. not only in coffee shops. Structure reflects responsibility. Fifth, end-to-end service. A professional broker helps with reservation agreements, land department transfer, foreign remittance documentation, and practical issues like bank accounts or utilities. And finally, accountability. A good broker stays involved after the deal. They do not disappear once the commission is paid. Let me give you one final short example. A Thai buyer was negotiating a very tough resale deal. We had direct access to the seller. We understood their family situation and timing. We reached the seller's lowest acceptable price. It was a very good deal. At the final stage, another broker was introduced. This broker did not know the seller. They requested a higher price to add their commission. We refused to change the structure. The deal collapsed. The property was sold shortly after to another buyer. The lesson is simple. Late-stage brokers without access do not add value, they add friction. This is why choosing one professional broker matters, not for convenience, but for control. Use this framework, ask the questions, watch the structure. If you do that, you will avoid most mistakes foreign buyers make in Bangkok. If you found this episode useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow, and it tells me to keep making practical content like this. If you want to talk to us directly, you can find our contact details on the top of the screen as usual. We work with foreign buyers in Bangkok every day, and we focus on structure, clarity, and good deals. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.